Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am very excited to have with me Ingo Schulmeyer as my guest. And let me tell you about Ingo. A few years ago, Ingo had a life that was what most people would consider successful. He had a well-paying job and a leadership position in the semiconductor industry, money, house, and was traveling around the world. But it didn't completely fulfill him. Then, 2 years ago, he and his family decided to sell everything, quit their jobs, and go on an adventure. He, his wife, 2 kids, 2 dogs were traveling through Mexico and found their new home there. Today, Ingo runs a successful business as a coach, finding ways to have business professionals find their fulfillment. They live a life of their dreams, celebrating financial freedom and the possibility to do what they want. He says he is sure that his kids have learned more while traveling, being exposed to the real life, than they would have in any school. We're going to talk about a topic that I often bring guests on because I think it's so important, and that's how to develop a winning mindset. So please join me in welcoming Ingo Schulmeyer. Ingo, so happy to have you here to talk about this important topic.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you're having me.
Awesome.
To be here.
So we always start with easy questions. One I kind of gave a little bit away. Where do you live? You maybe get more detail than just Mexico. And then please share your journey that took you from that world of corporate to just chucking it all and moving to Mexico and finding your new passion.
Yeah, I think the main thing to that is one of my main attitudes. If something's not working, you always need to try something new, right? And I was all my life that I was always looking for adventure and stuff like that. So I grew up in Germany, but from an early age, I started traveling. I went to India and to Russia and for internships and for backpacking and everything. And then. So sorry, what was the question?
Where do you live? Where do you live right now?
Where we live right now. So yeah, and today we live in Mexico. We're here since almost 3 years now. You said 2 years, but meanwhile it's almost 3 years. Time is passing by quickly. We were traveling here. As you mentioned, we decided to give up, at least for some time, our life in the corporate world, in the Western world. And decided to go for an adventure and discover something new. So yeah, we sold our house, we sold our cars, a lot of belongings. We took a few bags, our kids, our dogs, and went to Mexico. We bought a car in Mexico City, and then we were traveling for like 9 months with the intention to find a place where we want to stay for a longer time. But we didn't really have like a very specific goal. We just said, okay, wherever we end up, we will stay there. Yeah, so we reach here in a place. It's a little bit more in the mountains, so it's also the climate is a little bit cooler. So we prefer that over the tropical beaches are nice, but for living, it's it's just too hot for a mid-European family.
Yeah, I was just gonna say not Germany.
So yeah. yes, and now we're living we found a beautiful city. We've made a lot of friends there. Actually, we also we're just about to finish to build a house here, so we'll have our own house here with a big garden. Yeah, one of the things that I consider of freedom is also to be like in a way self-sufficient, right? So I don't want to depend on all the on all the food and on all the food industry and all the stuff. So we have a big garden. We're working a lot in the garden right now. And yeah, we really enjoyed it here.
So did your wife start working with you in your business, or did she find a new career in Mexico?
No, so actually she's starting. I also I'm working part-time in the university now. My wife started also to work here in the local university here, teaching, and she also giving dancing classes here. So we
awesome.
found some
Good.
local stuff. I wanted to be, I have my online coaching business, but I thought I need also something, right, to make some local connections and to see real people, not only the computer screen all day. So,
Absolutely.
so I decided to teach a few hours in the university.
That's great. That's great. So let's talk about this topic today. What are some key steps that you found to get to develop that winning mindset?
I think there are a few points to that. I think, first of all, you need some clear goals and you need to be aware of them. And you also need to be certain that you can achieve them. And there, I think it's important there's no problem in making goals big, right? I think most people make the goals too small. They think because they have some doubts or based on their past experiences, they say they don't want to like overcommit or something like that. And I think that's not really necessary. I think most people undersell themselves with that, right? Because I think it's much better to have a big goal, because if I have a big goal, and usually just for the sake of simplicity, I always use a financial example. If I say I want to be a millionaire, and in the end of the day, I just reach $900,000. So it's still better than if I take a small goal and say, okay, I want to have a pay raise of 3% next year. And maybe I get this 3%, right? So in the second case, so I would achieve my goal, but it's still much smaller than having a big goal and not to achieve it 100%. So I think it's good to have big goals. And the other thing, I think, just having an open mind and being flexible, and also being positive, not to complain all the time, and not to let other negative energies influence you, but going there with a positive spirit.
And I agree with you on all of those. Especially, for me, I think you have big goals, but you just set, okay, what are the small steps that I'll take to get to that big goal? And then it's not so daunting. It seems achievable. Okay, I'm going to do this small step and then this small step. And before you know it, you got a bigger piece of the pie done. And then, the big goal doesn't seem so scary and audacious, I guess.
Right. And I think that's one of what you mentioned right now is one of the points I think I learned personally quite late. I was always good in chasing my goals, and I also usually achieved them always all over my career, both in sports with the Ironmans, but also in my professional career and with my private goals. I always achieved them, but it was always this chasing of goals, right? And in the end, what you're doing is you're delaying your happiness or your fulfillment into the future, which usually that doesn't work, because once you achieve the goal, what's happening? You just need the next goal, right? And you're not enjoying the moment. And what you said right now, I think that's how I do it today, right? It's much more important to focus on today, to be the best version today. I still have my long-term goals. They're guiding me. They're like let's say as a lighthouse or something. But it's much more important to focus on my day, being present, and to enjoy the day. And I'm happy with what I have, and I'm grateful for what I have. And I think the progress is much more important than the achievement of the goal, right? So or the result, right? So if you celebrate the progress, if you learn to celebrate the progress, then then you can celebrate basically every day.
Yeah, there's a great book by Jeff Olson, The Slight Edge, that really talks about that.
Okay.
And they have a great story where a frog is in a bucket that's
And the
full of
water.
milk. Yeah, milk. And he's
Yeah.
just running and running and running, trying to get out. His other friend gave up and died, but he kept running and running and running, trying to figure out how to get to the top. And he churned butter and was able to leap then out. And I think that's such a great story to have you not give up whenever things look tough. You know, to find a creative way to get out of the mess you got yourself into.
Right.
So how do you get from business success to holistic wealth?
Yeah, that's what I found out over the last years, even before I quit my job and we decided to go to Mexico or to travel. Yeah, it didn't fulfill me anymore. So I looked more into what's really driving me. So I think all of us need some purpose, something that's really driving us aside like whatever financial motivation or whatever we have, right? So yeah, and then I started to work more and more on myself. And I think one of the problems today, especially today, is that we think we know our goals and we think we know where we want to be, right?
Right.
But I think it's so much there's so much distraction from social media and from friends and from family. They all tell you, yeah, success looks like this and that, and you have to do this and that you have a successful life and that you're happy. But it's usually not us, right? We're just so influenced by that, and we're so almost brainwashed, right? Because we hear it every day. And the other thing is we also we don't spend time with ourselves anymore, right? We try to avoid time with ourselves. I mean, most people, there's no minute that you can sit without where's my cell phone? I need to check something, right? So we're almost afraid of dealing with ourselves. So, and I think that's the key point. You need to go back and be with yourself, and this can be with different methods. There can be meditation or just being out in nature, or just being present,
taking a walk,
mindful. Yeah, taking a walk.
Leaving your cell phone at home, taking a walk.
Yeah. Or just doing ordinary things and focus on them, right? It's just if you're doing dishwashers, right? You don't have to run the television all the time or the radio all the time. When you're doing dishwashers, just focus on the dishes and what's happening there, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting. As I was, I guess, in my 30s and 40s, I noticed that some of my friends had to be in places where there was a lot of noise, a lot of music, you know, bars or restaurants. And I just thought, but we're trying to talk. We're like yelling to talk to each other because the noise is so loud. And it's like, can't we just go somewhere where it's quiet and talk to each other and get to know each other? And it's interesting. And I think some of the downside of technology, where there's a lot of upside. I love technology, but some of the downside I see in my grandsons is that they need that technology always. And so one of the things I try to do is like, well, let's just go for a hike, or let's just, you know, just sit and chat and tell stories. I think one of the funnest things that I did growing up was to spend time with my grandmother, who told me about her past and, you know, asked lots of questions. And it was so interesting to listen to how things were in the 1920s and 30s. And I think sometimes people rush too much and miss all of those things.
Right. And that's what you're saying is, by the way, also one point why we're very happy that we took our kids here, because, you know, in most of the schools in the Western world, they're very early getting used to these devices and this social media. And here we gave them the chance. I mean, of course, they're also using that. You cannot completely avoid it, but I think it's much less. They're in a small private school now. they spend a lot of time in nature, they're doing art, and they focus on a lot of different things. So they're not that much exposed to cell phones or computers than other places.
So you talked earlier about being involved with Ironman, and I know my brother did Ironman too. So talk to us about that, how that discipline, persistence, all those things that it takes to be successful in Ironman has helped you be successful in life.
Yeah, I think if you're going with such competitions, you learn so much. First of all, about yourself, you learn how to listen to your body. You learn about self-organization, right? Time management. You need to be very consistent. And also it's a lot about discipline, right? So if you have this goal and you really, I mean, usually I started with 1 year before, and then you make the plan, what you need to do. And I mean, then usually the event itself, if you're prepared well, the event itself is like it's like the outcome of that. It's like what you get for it, right? But this long time, this 6 or 9 months of preparation, this is what really teaches you to be focused, to be, you're becoming aware of all kinds of different things on your body. You need to do planning and everything. You need to fit it into your life because there are many hours every week, right? So also, the discipline. I mean, also we were in Germany, right? In the winter, even in the winter, you need to go out, and even if there's snow or rain, and so if it's very cold, you go out and you go running or you go cycling. And I think that's it taught me a lot about planning, self-discipline, understanding my body. I understand pretty good today what my body needs, and I usually don't go to doctors, so I learned how to listen to my body, to pace my body, to that's another thing. Pacing is also important, also for life, because if you're an Ironman, which an event usually is something between 9 and 15 hours, depending how good you are. If you're starting too quick, you will die, right? You don't reach the end, right? So it's important that you stay consistent. You do a good swim, you do a good ride, but you don't overpace. So and that's the key to it, right? And that's also what you need in life. Most people in any task, right? They start quick and they try to do everything today, and tomorrow, it's too much.
Well, they get burned out, or they quickly lose interest too. So, So for you, what was the biggest mental struggle that you've had in your life thus far?
My biggest mental struggle. Well, I think it was really this decision whether we should, or whether I should quit my job, or whether we should make this decision as a family. Because I mean, one thing is if you're alone, right, and you say, okay, I quit my job, I go travel. Okay, it's your own responsibility. But if you're responsible for 2 small children and a family, so it's again different. And I think when I was working, I think I would have made this decision probably earlier, but I also had this limiting belief, right? Because if you're used to, I was working there 15 years or more, if you're used to this monthly paycheck where every month the money is coming in, and I said, I cannot quit my job. I mean, I cannot feed my kids anymore, right? So maybe not in the first day, but that was basically the thought, right? I need something to work. I cannot quit my job. And that was really, it took time to make a decision, and I think the pain had to be big enough. It was then that with the pandemic when things got even worse. I mean, not only because of the pandemic, but also because of my job situation, because instead of traveling the world, I was just sitting in front of the computer, and I didn't enjoy it anymore. And also my wife didn't enjoy it, and the school of the kids didn't work anymore because the Zoom meetings didn't work. So, and then I think the pain was big enough, and we made this decision. But it was really a long process to get there, I would say.
And it is scary, and you do think of all the things that could go wrong. You do have that responsibility to family. And you probably had other close people, relatives, especially like, what are you doing? Are
Right.
you crazy?
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be resilient, I think, and have the courage to trust that you will make it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But there it's also, I mean, what helped us or what helped me the most was basically you can change or shift your perspective, right? Because I changed from thinking, okay, we will end up on the street and won't have money anymore and whatever, won't be able to get back a job. I changed the perspective and I thought, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? And we thought, okay, the worst thing that can happen is we go there for 1 year, we travel, we have a vacation, we're enjoying our time. And if we don't find a place or if we don't like it, then we go back and we're looking for new jobs and we do the same again, right? And then suddenly it's not such a bad situation anymore because you can always go back and I mean, it wouldn't maybe be exactly the same job, but we'll probably find another job and then we could continue our daily life. And then you just had a 1 year vacation, and then it's the worst case is suddenly not so bad anymore.
That's exactly right. So for having this winning mindset, I think we've touched on it a few times, but there are going to be times, even when things have gone right, that you're going to have that self-doubt, that it's having that winning mindset is going to be challenged from time to time. And so how do you utilize all that you've learned to bring yourself, out of the depths of depression or anxiety or fear to say, we can do this. I can do this.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I think having a winning mindset doesn't mean we're winning all the time, right?
Yeah, that's right.
There will always be times when we're failing, and it's part of the game, right? And it's, yeah, it's not so pleasant. Of course, we prefer to win, but I mean, there's we will always have highs and lows in our life, right? And we need to take this as opportunities to learn. And I think the point here is that we need to understand, I mean, also many people are scared of making decisions because they think it's something they have to stick with till the end of their life, right? If I make a decision today, what if it's the wrong decision? So I rather make no decision, right? I think it's better to make decisions. And if we see in whatever 1 month or 6 months or whatever, if we see it was not a good decision or something went wrong, I think we have to adjust that or change the decision and do something else or continue with that if we see still that there's an option to achieve that, right? But yeah, so and yeah, I think failure is part of the game. I think we should separate the failing from our personality, that we don't take it personal, and just learn from the failure. I mean, it sounds easy. I know that it's not. It's also
I was just going to
say,
what is the best lesson that you've learned so far from failure?
The best lesson.
I mean, I would imagine that and maybe not, but I would imagine that not everything went according to plan when you first got to Mexico. That you had maybe had to, I shouldn't do that.
My best lesson, you know what? I think it's listening more to my gut feeling. Yeah. Because I usually, so I'm an engineer also, right? So I'm a very logical person and I like to analyze things a lot and make every sense of everything. But sometimes the best decision I made were when I just said, okay, I will do it like that for whatever reason, right? It's just a feeling. So based on feelings and I think that's
a huge, huge leap for you as an engineer. I am proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Oh my goodness. So what would be a couple things that you want to leave with the audience today that might help them change their mindset in a way, or start that journey to changing their mindset so that they find greater success in their lives?
Yeah, I think the single most important, we talked already about that, is really becoming present, becoming like meet yourself again, and deal with yourself, understand what you really want, where you really want to be. Because I mean, we can chase goals and we can achieve them, but if they're not aligned with who we really are, then it's in the long term, it's not really working out. So I think that's the most important point. So spend time with yourself, shut down your phone, be in silence, be in quiet, and learn about yourself. And again, the thing is, you will find all the answers within yourself, right? There are no books out there, or there are no gurus out there that can tell you your truth. So you need to find it for yourself.
Awesome advice. All right, it's time now for me to share my screen. As always, if you're just listening, I will read the website information, but you do want to visit my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. Please subscribe, or you can find all this information on my YouTube or my website, the findyourleadershipconfidence.com. But if you are listening, here's the website, and it is thesmallreset.org. Again, that's thesmallreset.org. On LinkedIn, you can find him by searching his name, Ingo Schulmeyer. That's Schulmeyer. On YouTube is at The Small Reset, with small and reset having initial cap. And Twitter, he is Coach_Ingo. Coach_Ingo. I'm going to let Ingo tell you what you're going to find when you go to his website. Things, resources, free items, anything, being able to connect so that you might take advantage of his coaching. So it's all yours, Ingo.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I mean, you find all the summaries on my website, The Small Reset. There's also an introduction to my coaching approach. It's a transformational coaching approach based mainly on NLP, but also other techniques. LinkedIn, you can get in contact with me if you want to get in a business contact. On YouTube, usually I'm doing interviews, also podcast interviews with other people where we're talking about personal development and becoming better, developing this winning mindset. There's also every week is an episode with interesting people. And most active, I'm on Twitter right now under Coach Ingo. You will find there also a guide to financial freedom. It's a free guide that you can download, and you can get into that to see all the methods how to get into financial freedom. And for me, it's important because most of the offers are mainly based on investment advice and stuff like that. My guide is really more on mindset development and setting up the basis for that, overcoming limiting beliefs.
Awesome.
And working on the let's say on the soft skill side of things.
Awesome. Ingo, you shared a lot of really important information, good advice for the audience. I hope everybody is going to go out to his website and check out those resources, take advantage of anything that he has out on LinkedIn, and check out the podcast on YouTube. And as always, I thank you for being such a great guest today.
Yeah, thank you for being a great host. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. And as always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling, signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.